Well, hi there, good morning to you all. My name's John. Sorry Carol's not with me. As usual, when I'm doing anything electronic or electrics in the motorhome, she stays well out of my way. Not because I shout or bawl at her, none of us husbands do that, do we? It's just that I like to concentrate on what I'm doing. So, thank you for tuning back into Budgie's Bus. Those of you who's not been here before, please hit the like and subscribe button. It doesn't cost you nothing to subscribe. Hit the notification button and the little bell will let you know whenever we upload another video. So what am I doing today? Today I'm swapping the Sterling B2B to the Victron B2B. The reason for that is that when you're running, there's nothing telling you if that's kicked in or not. There is lots of fancy Christmas lights that flash on the front, but for us to get to that, it means we've got to move the table, take the cushions off, lift up the seat, and then stick your head literally in the hole to see where the lights are. And not only that, it's twice the size of the Victron one. Both of them bangs out 30 amps, which is good. The only thing different between them is that the Sterling will only kick in when it gets up to around the 15 to 16 volts from the alternator, where the Victron will kick in lower. So in this case, if we was just say parked up for 2 weeks or somewhere at a friend's place in Portugal and we've had bad weather and I do need to charge up the batteries, with the Victron I can actually start the engine, give a couple of revs and it will kick in straight away, and it will stay there until it gets onto the float mode, which means you've totally charged your batteries. I can see that on the app on the phone, and like I say, you can't do that with the Sterling one. So unless you got your Sterling controller in a visible place, you can't tell what's happening. So that's why I'm changing it. The other controller I'm installing, the solar controller, is for when the sorry about this, there's lots of numbers in my head, the LR 2018, which is the actual controller that sits in with the EBL system. Not a lot of you won't have that. There's different models and different things in every motorhome. What the EBL is, it's basically the brains of the motorhome. What controls all your electrics. It will charge your ledger batteries if you've got gel or lead acid. So those don't usually have their built-in solar controller. You have to buy a separate controller for it, which what I called in the last video this little box. So what I've done with that just charges up the starter battery, and once that's full I'm putting in the controller to take over and use the power that's not being used for the starter battery to top up the lithium batteries I have installed. So that's the end of my waffle. What I'll do is I'll tell you what I've done, but I won't actually show you installing. I'll show you where you put the wires and how you do it. Then afterwards I'll show you the setting up of the Victron Connect on the app, so you can change it from lead acid or gel batteries. They usually come as a default to gel batteries. usually Victron gel batteries, but you need to change it in the settings onto lithium, and you need to do that before you connect it to your lithium batteries. So okay, no more waffle. I hope you enjoy the video. Catch you at the end. Bye for now. Okay folks, to start off with, we'll go on to install, or set up and install your solar controller. It doesn't matter what model you get. If it's the smart one, once you got the batteries connected, you will need to do a firmware update, so that will always be the same. Before you even start though, read the manual. Make sure you understand the basics first. The important thing is to remember that you do not connect the solar panels up to the controller first. You always connect the solar charger to the battery. So you pick the right size cable to what you're going to be using. What I've had tendency to do is, when I'm using putting the solar in, the live wire I always mark with a heat shrink. So in this case this will be our live wire to the battery. So make sure you twisted it so it's nice and tight. So then test it to make sure how much you actually need, so I can cut that bit off. There's your live. So at this point, these two wires, your live and your negative, will actually connect to your battery. Once that's done, the lights will start flashing here. You then need to connect with your smartphone or iPad, whatever you've got. From there, it'll ask you to put in the pin. The pin on these are all standard when they come. It's 4 zeros. So put your zeros, put the password in. You'll then get prompted to update the firmware. Allow that to go through. Once that's done, you'll have to log back in again. It will then ask you to change your password. So I would advise doing that, because everyone out there who's got one of these will be able to log on to your smart device. So change your pin in the password place. Do that. Once that's done, go into the settings and set it for whatever type of battery. If it's a gel battery, AGM, lead acid, there's a big list of different types of batteries. In my case, I'd set it to lithium. Once that's done, then comes your connecting up of your solar panels. So these would be the wires coming from your solar panel. What I like to do is I use the MC4 connectors. You usually use these on the actual roof to connect your solar panels into series or parallel, whichever you decide you wanted to do. Then you have your cable come out and down through the roof, and usually a lot of people just connect the solar cable straight into your controller. I like to install these. There's a pin that comes with them that you clip onto your wire. Your wire then goes in, and there's a grommet and everything. It tightens up, and that's your mail done. The reason I do this is that if you, for any reason, you need to work on your batteries or your controller system, you will need to disconnect your solar panels. The last thing you want to do is have to climb up on the roof every time you do it. So if you have this, one of these connected to the solar controller end of your cabling from the solar panel, and the other one I'll take them out, connected up, bear with me, sorry. So this one, let's say, is coming from the solar panel, so your cable will come in. Usually you'd put it straight, most people put it straight in. Like I say, I like to put a connection in between. The reason for that is that if you ever got to have to work on the batteries or remove something from the controllers, it's easier just to disconnect these, and you can leave one end still in there, disconnect this end like so, disconnect that end, and then you're safe to work. You can disconnect the batteries and not have no worries about damaging your controller. So that's why I do that. So what we'd do then, anyway, after we've done all the firmware and we've set everything up, you then connect this end in. So you'd put your controller into the unit. That's basically it then. Once that's done and it's all connected up, as long as you set it up correctly, you're up and running. That's your controller connected to your batteries first, and then the solar panels connected to the controller. That's all you need to do. Once that's all done, that is up and running, and your batteries will be getting charged from your solar panel. So that's that. It's a simple idiot guide. I don't want to teach you to suck eggs. So like I say, it is a simple job. But if you are unsure, my advice is don't do it. But if you think you're capable of doing it, go ahead and try. So that's your controller set up. Okay, the next job will be my B2B. Okay folks, here we go. Next comes your battery charger, your DC to DC. This is an isolated one, so I can actually, once the engine's turned off, it will shut down. That will only work if you have it connected to a negative to the chassis of the vehicle. Otherwise it's not going to work that way. Okay, so that's why I always use the wire, the negative wire from the battery into the controller. So the first things first, you need to find where your battery is. It's either going to be under your bonnet or in a panel in the floor. Once you've found it, take off a panel or open your bonnet, measure how far you need measure the cable from the battery to where your charge is going to be situated. Cut your cable to size. I always put on a trip on the positive coming from the battery. That way you can finish off everything in the battery and this end will still be safe. But a tip before you do it, check that they are working. There have been some dodgy ones come through that even though they're tripped, both ends are still live, and you can imagine if that has happened and you've got a fault, that can cause a fire. So be warned, if you use a trip, make sure it works, or use a fuse, it's up to you. So before I connect the battery to the starter battery to the charger, I fit the trip to the cable, trip it out, connect the battery up, then test this end, make sure it's dead. Once you've done that, you can then run your wire in from this side of the trip into the charger. Your negative wire, which will be coming from your starter battery, will come all the way in. No need to put any trips or anything else in, straight into your charger. Once you got that in, you can set the trip. So now you should have the lights come on here, which is on and off, and the blue light flashing up here. Again, same as you did with the controller, you need to go into your app and set it up for whatever type of battery you've got, lithium, whatever. Once you've done that and all the firmware's, everything's up to date, you are ready then to connect this to the battery. So then you bring your wire in. Negative will go straight to your bus bar or your negative terminal. Your live wire will come. I always again put a second trip in. You'll see that in the cubbyhole where I keep my batteries. Again, make sure it's safe before you do it. Untrip it, check it. I then put that between the controller and your bus bar for your live terminal or directly to your terminal. That way you've got two safety features. Once that's done, you have, if you've connected up to your starter battery negative earth, you can put the little plug in just here and then it's ready. Everything's connected up. Once you start the engine, it will look for the voltage. Once it finds the voltage, if it needs charging, it will start to charge. If the battery is fully charged, it will go into the float mode. Basically exactly the same as what happens with your charger, your controller from your solar batteries. It will charge if it needs charging, or just float, which is basically a trickle charge to keep it healthy. So I'll show you what to do on that with the app a bit later on. Thanks for bearing with me. I hope it ain't been too long and I haven't waffled too much, and you understand the basics of installing one. Okay, catch you later. Okay folks, this is the controller I've just installed. It's not actually connected up to the solar panels yet, so this is the first install. Come in then. It's okay, it's just Carol bringing me a cup of tea. Now, it comes up asking for your pin, so connect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. There you go. It needs firmware update. So now we've got to wait for that to happen, to update.
Sorry.
It doesn't usually take so long. It's as long as you've got a good Wi-Fi system, or you're on G4 or G5. Okay, continue. Like I said, you need to log back in. It's now moved down to the bottom because it's the last one. There you go. That's up and running. As I said, there's nothing there. Not now. Don't need to change the pin yet. It's another update. Like I said, sometimes there's 2 or 3 updates. Just depends how long it's been sitting on their shelf in the shop. This is the same principle with all the Victron gear that is Bluetooth. It's exactly the same process. Okay, back to continue. There you go, I've already put the pin in, so there's no need to worry about that again. Fetching data. Okay. Not now, I'll change that later. Go to settings, battery, maximum current, blah 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 blah. Battery present, select a preset. As I said, it's actually set for Victron gel, but you've got AGM, Victron, and all of us batteries. So we're going to the LifePod 4, the lithium battery. Okay, so there we go. Everything is changed. The exhaustion rate, your float rate. So that's it then. That's all you need to do. The rest of it is all preset. So once I connect the I forgot the name of them, MC4 connectors, we should get a voltage, or it should be on float, whichever. Okay, I'll connect that up now and I'll show you why I use the MC4 connectors on both ends of the cable. So okay, let me move you around. We'll go again. This is why I use the MC4 connectors on both ends of the cables. As you can see, one is actually marked red for live and the other one's plain, which is neutral. Just okay folks, let me just start my phone. There we go. Let's go. Now this is the controller I've just installed. As you can see, I've got 3 controllers charging my leisure batteries. This one might be on bulk at the moment because it's only just been installed and it needs to synchronise itself. Yeah, as I said, look, that's a pain in the arse that keeps coming up until I change the pin. As I said, it's on bulk at the moment. That will change once it settles down and it will go into the float mode. At the moment I have got the radio on, updating the firmware on that in the front, so that will be drawing slightly from the leisure batteries. So let's look at the others. The other 2 should be on float. There we go. Yeah, it's on float. As you can see, I've got 43.5 volts coming from the solar panel on the top, and it's overcast. There's no sunshine whatsoever. So that will stay on float now until I draw more off the batteries, and then that will kick in. The next one should be the same. Yeah, I've got 20 volts coming off that one. It's in float. As you can see, it is saying there is a slight drain on the battery. That's because the radio is running. So let's look at the smart shunt. That should tell me I'm 100% or just under. There we go, yeah. I'm 100% charged good to that, and I'm pulling 0.26, 27 amps, and that's the radio. Okay, there we go. The only thing I've got left to do, and I'll show you the setting up of that, is the B2B, but I won't go through the whole setup on that one again.
There it is.
Okay folks, the B2B is now connected. As you can see, it's saying it's turned off. The voltage of the engine is 12.8. Let's start her up. There we go. The engine voltage is gone up to 14.5, and as you can see, it's bulk charging. So that should be up and running now. So that's your B2B connected. So let's just go back, check what it's doing on the smart shunt. There we go, everything's running up to its maximum. So yeah, everything seems to be working okay. We have now got 5 items on. We've got the starter battery being charged by the solar panel as well as the alternator. We've also got 3 solar controllers all working on the There's your batteries, and now we've got the smart controller that will come on once the engine gets up to about 14. There you go, it's on absorption now. So as you can see, it's working perfectly fine. Well, that's it for now. Just a matter of tidying up and finishing the video. Catch you later. Well folks, I hope you understood what I've done and the reason why I've done it. It's only a 10-minute job. If you're going to install them, like I said in the video, earlier in the video, if you're going to install them yourself, please be careful. Make sure you know what you're doing before you start. Also, if you're putting a B2B in for the first time, you will need to go into your battery compartment, either under your bonnet or in the floor of the cab, and run a live and a negative cable through to your controller. That can be simple in some cases. In my case, there's about 4 different layers of timber you would have to drill through, and it's all awkward to get through. So thanks for watching. Carol will be with us in the next video, hopefully, and that is it for now. So take care folks, stay safe, and once again, most of all, happy travelling to you all. Catch you in the next video. Bye then.